We are addressing third grade retention law in the state of Tennessee that's having a wide impact. Katherine Bike represents Knox County School Board District 4 and also is dealing with this in her family personally. And I know we talked off camera about the research that you have seen and that any one of our viewers can Google. What is the impact of holding a child back? What you've seen sounds like a negative. If that happens, it's not going to do great things for your child socially.
Sure, yeah. I love to research, and I also like to research both sides of it. I haven't found anything that says retention is amazing for this, like where it's going to be really helpful, and the amount of help that it could have, those few children that you might help, all of the other children that are going to be damaged by it, you know, you have to ask, is it worth it to help a few? But the majority of what I found, especially because other states have done stuff like this, like Michigan and Ohio and stuff like that, is that they're actually repealing it now after like 5 and a few years of doing this, to realize that it's not helping. It's not helping kids or families to access stuff. And I think there's a study from 2017 and also a similar one from 2000 that says, I think it's a student is 2% or 2 times more likely to not complete school, like K through 12, if they're retained at an early age. And that's not even getting a GED. That's just not finishing school.
So one of the options that you're looking at is having this enhanced tutoring in 4th grade. Mm-hmm. That's what you're leaning toward right now, personally.
It is what I've signed my son up for. Okay. Yeah, I think the summer school is a great option for a lot of parents, but both of my kids are really tired and they need a break.
Dr. Phillips, as we discussed in the first block, it's roughly double the number of kids, rising 4th graders that are going to be going in compared to past summers. That's pretty dramatic, and I just wonder, do you all see the need? Has there been thought given about, hey, you know, we need to be really conscious of this, let's try and make everybody feel welcome, let's try and take some of the shock off. This also can be stigmatizing. It used to be a long time ago, and the people watching might be able to relate to this with me, it was only very, very, very few kids that ever were held back. I mean, like, you could count just a very small number on your hands. Any thoughts about trying to sort of, ease that kind of potential stigma?
I think in Knox County, one of the things we've intentionally focused on is seeing this update to the retention law be centered on the academic supports available to students. Mm-hmm. So our number one priority has been to help students reach proficiency throughout the school year, but then also inform our parents of those academic services that are outlined within the law, so summer school and year-long tutoring. Within our summer school program, we have educators who volunteered for this work and are excited to be back with kids for 17 days to impact them in a positive way. And they're armed, ready to help our students feel as if this is a next step in just layering on more learning, and that they're very capable students. They're very capable students who, many of them, are already readers. This is about taking it the next step and allowing them to engage in a text and think more critically about what that text is saying. And so I feel like in Knox County, what we've done is build up this coalition of educators who love students, who believe in students being able to be skilled readers, and they're ready to support kids in our summer learning camp.
The teachers who will be teaching in these coming weeks, are they all particular to those grade levels? Do you know what I mean? Are they folks that you have said, hey, come on back and you'll work with, 3rd graders or 4th graders?
So when we put out the interest survey to our educators, we got a wide spectrum of people respond saying they were interested in supporting our students. We then looked at the possible number of enrollment. So we did some preliminary numbers based on our universal screener to anticipate how many students we might have, especially in that rising 4th grade group. And then we looked at who responded to the interest survey. We placed our current 3rd grade teachers with our rising 4th grade students first, and then we looked at the vertical grade levels. So who responded interested that teaches 2nd grade, who responded as interested that teaches 4th grade, that we could put in that 3rd grade space to support those rising 4th graders.
As a board member, you said to the state legislature, don't do this. This is a bad idea. Knox County said that as a board. I just wanted to extend our view outside Knox County. We wanted Dr. Amanda Waits, who works in Knox County, to join us for this discussion. Unfortunately, she's sick, but she did say after exemptions, the retake, they're down to 26 children, about 8.4% who must attend summer school or face retention. What have you heard from other districts about their impacts on them that are outside of Knox County?
Well, it's been really hard because the data has changed, and I don't know if I can accurately speak to any of that because I feel like what I'm getting day to day is changing. And at this point, we are networking statewide with parents and teachers to say, you know, what is happening, what is going on, how are you doing, things like that. What are you going to do? And it's constantly changing. Some districts have a lot more, and then like Knox County went down. Some have kind of stayed the same.
And to that point, Dr. Phillips, you're saying the numbers are changing. And when will we know as a district the final number? Is that going to be in early, mid-July, late July?
So in regard to final number of students retained, there's a timeline for that. And so that is dependent upon how many students take advantage of the academic services that are outlined per the retention law and how many do not, and how many then meet the criteria outlined by the law. We have to notify parents of final retention notices of those students who attended summer learning camp by July 14th. And so that is our latest date within that timeline.
Okay.
Not talking about those who have been retained, but those who were approaching and had the option to do tutoring in the fall, if I understand it correctly. Do we know what those numbers look like?
We do. Those numbers are pretty solid at this point. We had a series of data, much like Ms. Bike mentioned, come out, and then when the retake was completed, that data shifted again. And so we do have those numbers. We have, like I mentioned earlier, approximately 1,300 students who have the option of attending summer learning camp and or tutoring, and within that 1,300 there are those of them that are required to do both.
We're going to take another quick break on Inside Tennessee, back with more of our conversation about third grade retention and the law impacting lots of students and families across this state. Also, what's ahead? It's not over, and there are changes coming next year. We'll explain.